Hello everyone, my name is Speedy. Welcome to NotSoSpeedRuns and to Blades in the Dark. 6 and 20, we have returned. I apologize for the absence last week, but we are here. Missing one person, but other than that, we are back for more Blades in the Dark action, and murder, mystery, death, that sort of stuff. It's good to be back. How is everyone here doing tonight?
Yeah.
Woo!
That's what I like to hear.
That's how I'm doing. You guys don't answer my questions off screen. I might have to push you on screen for them. Damn it.
All right.
It's pretty much the same question we gave you off screen was
Fuck.
Yeah, sorry for the delay in timer was because Johnny, with like a minute and 30 seconds left, decided to ask us all a question that would take like a minute for each of us to answer. So,
Yeah, blame it on me, buddy. Who started late?
I didn't start late.
Your timer went 2 minutes late.
Listen, I wasn't the one who was in taking a shower for the first 30 minutes while we were getting started.
Listen, Twitch is going to be, enacting that scratch and sniff streaming technology. We need to make sure that we shower before this.
You're right. You're right. And we never know when. Like, we could be part of the beta test right now.
Right.
Anyways.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
Scratch, not rub. Scratch.
Let's go around to our cast and see how they're doing today, and reintroduce us to who you're playing. Also, Skaggith, thank you for that raid. Skaggith is the best. Go follow Skaggith. Let's go ahead and go around to the cast, starting with Trendane.
Yeah, I'm Trendane, and since Awkward Kitty's not here, I shall celebrate Carmex. And I have a quarter, and I have my Sonicare toothbrush, and I have what's left of a glass of water. And I've noticed, Speedy, this evening that whatever you're doing with your arrangement, you have much more bassier reverb from your microphone than normal. It's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've redone my whole mic setup since I got moved back in here, so my mic is no longer as close to my face as it was, and I adjusted my voice meter settings a little bit, so it's a little on the bassier side.
Yeah, it makes you sound like you've actually hit puberty now. So my name is Trey Sparks, and I am playing Useth, who was formerly known as Hocus, and he is a whisper who is probably about to get killed by his niece. So we'll see how that goes. I should probably talk about gravity, Madam Gandalf.
Are you defying it?
No.
Oh.
It's a constant, so there's really no reason to talk about it. Just,
I mean, I cannot by defying gravity, and you won't bring me down.
Bruce.
On that note, hey, I'm Madam Gandalf. I play Ari. I am the unstable, slightly insane, and just trying to find herself in this world that she no longer can find the rules to the game of which she's trying to play. And it's getting even more unstable than she likes, and she likes being lost in the woods. But she doesn't like it when somebody starts chopping down the forest around her. So we're going to see how she manages to cope with that. And I'm going to move this on to the lovely Owlbare.
Hello, I'm Owlbare, but you can call me Joff. That's fine, I don't mind. I play a Scotland cutter called Jinx Godifer, who is... he's actually, I was going to say he's bad news, but compared to everyone else in the crew, he's looking all right. He's, he's kind of homely, doesn't get in trouble, doesn't know how to kill countless possessed citizens of Udawasha. Yeah, you're gonna see how bad things got and how bad things are about to get. As I am now having a buddy cop moment with my friend Hocus, Useth. And that's what I got. And yes, as is being pointed out in chat, I do have a background cat who's getting into trouble, and I'll have to go chase her in a second.
I suspect I may develop a foreground cat at some point during this stream too.
And that's all I got. And normally I would pass this on to Kitty, but there's no Kitty, so I will just pass it to Johnny.
Hi.
Hi, Johnny.
Yeah, I'm Johnny, and I'm everything else in this silly campaign. I'm the GM for 6 and 20, and I'm really curious what's going to happen tonight. There's some really nasty things on the table for Hocus and for Jinx, and if the rest of the group catches up, this could get pretty intense. So I'm looking forward to watching it play out.
As am I, because I have no idea how this is going to play out at all.
Wait a second. Who are you? I'm sorry, I didn't hear your introduction, sir. Who are you?
I'm Noah.
He's just the guy who can hit stop stream.
Well, no. I was asking about his character. Honestly, I mean, if he's the guy who can stop stream, then
You're right. I didn't say who I was yet. Maybe that's a mystery. Maybe that's something that other people will have to learn later. Or maybe I'm playing as Sky, the spider of the crew, the man who's been determined for far too long to bring the downfall of Duskfall as a form of revenge for what he thinks the entire city is to blame for. He's been trying very hard and very differently lately, as his last tactic of just trying to blow up a lightning barrier didn't seem to go over so well.
We're fine.
Yeah. And also as he's learned that his sister, whose ghost he has been protecting for so long, has a chance, perhaps, of becoming reconciled and of being able to be like a living person again. So, yeah, that's Sky. Johnny, you got stuff to do?
What? Huh? Should we get started?
Yeah. Otherwise, I'm gonna go get some chicken. So,
you know what? Yeah, fine. Phantom win. Show's canceled. Go get some chicken.
Okay.
Oh, can I get cheese?
They do have cheese. Actually, they have a cheesy fries thing there. It's got this mix of Colby and cheddar, and it's like, never mind.
Where is this? You're gonna have to message me offline. I'm gonna have to.
It's right next to Santa Clara University, right off the Alameda.
All right, sure. I'll come find it. Anyways,
without talking about us going to lunch together. That's where we're going.
Okay, but there still has to be cheesecake involved. Remember?
Oh, that's right. We're gonna go to the Cheesecake Factory.
Sorry, guys. We got to clear up this lunch deal. It's
going to be our first date, even though we're not dating.
Oh, the mandate.
Too bad the rest of you aren't here. I'd buy you all lunch. Can we get started? Because
you can just mail me a Cheesecake Factory gift card. It's fine.
Oh, so you're gonna? All right. I'm not gonna go there. We're gonna get started. Okay. So where you guys left stuff off, you had just entered the city of Udwasha proper, inside of the walls. Everybody was following Hocus's lead, or Useth's lead, to what initially was they were heading for his home, but it turns out that they were given directions to a refugee camp where his family was supposedly camped out, waiting to be evacuated. Useth made it to the camp after having a really peculiar interaction with a beggar who seemed to indicate not only that there was much trouble, but that there was also something very peculiar about Libi. Once arriving to the camp, Useth is reunited first with his niece and then with the rest of his family. His aunt, the matron of the family, did most of the talking
And slapping.
and slapping, and Hocus was chastised, scolded, verbally punished, but also told that family is family and he should have never left. They were there for him always. Subsequent to that, an attack began to form at the south side of the camp, of which is the reason that the refugee camp was being formed inside of the city walls at the bazaar, one of the bazaars in the city, and that evacuations were happening as fast as they possibly could, get people out of the city, staged out of the city, and then onto the trains to head north. That attack found Hocus and Jinx witnessing what appeared to be possessed individuals from the city who were moving very slowly and making their way to the front line of the essentially the group that was trying to rebuff them, which was actually the Imperial army. Hocus witnessed, along with Jinx, a number of waves of attacks, and then followed his niece into the fray after taking a bit of action that kind of blew everybody's mind, as Hocus exhibits an ability that he has not until recently decided was worth using, and he cleared the path, thus forcing his niece to jump into the fray because she is also a Whisper. And where we find them now is Jinx and Hocus standing in the center of essentially a horde moving in their direction on the pathway back to safety, and the Imperial army and the refugee camp. But Hocus's niece is on the attack, because Hocus, what did you say that you were going to do?
That I was going to, since I saw no other options available to us to stop this onslaught for good, or at least for the foreseeable future, that I was going to summon an avatar of one of the demon princes and get them to take care of the situation for us.
Now, she had moved very, very intentionally, telegraphing everything for you as she reached under her robes and grabbed for her blade. And when you confirmed for her, she moved in for the attack.
Yes.
Before... Go ahead, Jinx.
I was going to say, before that she takes a step closer, I'm interposing between Useth and his niece. I'm going to leverage, if I have to, I'll leverage the bodyguard ability that I have.
I would assume that it's a natural part of Jinx's repertoire at this point, so yeah. I just assumed that was what was going to happen if the attack came in. She stops for a second because she was a couple of paces away. This fight is not with you.
If your fight's with your uncle, your fight's with me. I stand by your uncle.
He commits blasphemy.
Give us an alternative.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I don't want to hurt you. I don't want you to hurt your uncle. We're all in the same predicament here. Give us an alternative.
The princes are responsible for this. What makes you think contacting them will cause any change? And she grips the blade, and you can see that her knuckles are turning white in the dim light.
And I will bring up my kukri and just point it. And I'm actually looking to Useth for an answer to that question.
Abashi, why? Why, in all of the time of Uduasha, why have we always named our houses after the demon princes if they were so repulsive to us?
We served them because we thought we had to.
And now?
They betrayed us.
To what?
She steps back for a second and she points. She takes her blade and it's still in her hand, but she uses her finger and she points. These are our people. And she just encompasses the slow-moving horde closer to you. The princes are responsible for this. How much clearer can I be that the princes are not to be trifled with?
So what do we do? Do we stand here cutting down our own people?
They are lost to us.
No.
My husband is lost.
I don't doubt it. What I'm saying is you cannot in one breath use these people as a defense and in the next breath say that they're worthless, that they're lost, that we can't do anything about it. Pick one. Give me an alternative.
They do not come back. They do not. I would rather die and join them than let you try to broker a deal that will only mean more die. She brings the blade back to her chest, but she stands up, coiled, but not ready for the attack yet.
I don't doubt you're fast, Les, but I'm faster.
What is the end result of what we're doing right now? Is our entire purpose simply to hold the crest of this wave back so that people can get away? Or is there some other action we are meant to take?
I hold the line so that others may escape, so that others may not face the fate for which I have seen many taken. The horde is about 10 feet away from all of you now, slow moving and beginning to try to encompass you, surround
you. Kind of glance back towards the caravan that's trying to move people out of the bazaar. How far along are they?
You can't see. It's far enough. It's like a quarter mile away now, and there are buildings and tents and stuff in front of you. So.
This conversation is perhaps best saved for another time then. But there is much explaining to do. I've been gone too long to be able to operate effectively here. Tell me what to do.
She pauses for a second, and as she does, the horde moves ever closer, and you begin to hear their footsteps begin to shift a little as they begin to kind of encircle even more. The pathway behind you begins to close.
We're moving. We're moving now. Move. Run.
She looks to you, Jinx. That is the only course we have. And she moves past you, and she is fast. And she leads the way back down the side street towards the line. And the moment that each of you kind of jump over the bodies and you begin to cross over this, and as you jump through the line and get past that line of Imperial soldiers, the shots ring out, and another line of the horde begins to fall. And she's on the ground, kind of kneeling for a second, and she looks up. You will not embarrass me again, Uncle. You will respect my word. I have earned my place. My robes say so. Now, another ring of shots fire down the distance. If you have another idea, I am all ears. The princes, they are not going to respect any wishes of ours anymore. All of our offerings have borne this result. Generations we were fooled. And now all we can hope is to evacuate until a better plan to work against the princes can be enacted. There are no more sorcerers of old. We do not have the skills to defend ourselves. There was once a group. It's rumored before the cataclysm they worked to make sure that the princes never awoke. But in our desire for wealth, our greed, we offered so many things to them because we never believed that it was real. At least most of us.
I presume you speak of Case.
That is one. There was a group once.
Yes, I've met them.
How is that possible? They're dead.
They are not dead. They come back over and over and over again, reoccupying bodies. They are partially responsible, not only for the attacks on Duskfall while I was there that sent me here, but they are trying, unless I miss my guess, to wake these bastards up. There are many things about my time outside that I have not told you. Thousands of lifetimes lived, that part you know. But the parts that you do not know are that some of those lifetimes intersected with chaos and talk, and many of the others. And these acquaintances keep revisiting like a top that spins around and around and around. Do what you must. I will follow your lead until I come up with a better plan. But when I do, do what you must.
Find my mother. She's in the caravan. I must do here. But she moves back to the lawn.
I'll just look at Jinx and, okay, let's go, because otherwise I'm going to start blowing fuckers up again.
Where are Ari and Samandra and Sky and Libby?
Well, I know that at the end of last time, Samandra decided no matter who was following her or not, she was going to run after Jinx, despite the fact that Jinx asked her specifically not to. Right. And I know that I'm pretty sure that Libby and Sky decided to also follow suit, but I think Ari was still helping out with the refugees.
Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to confirm that's where she was. So Ari is a part of that evacuation that's happening at the north side of the camp. You help the matron, Hocus's aunt, to load her husband and the other sick gentleman into the one of the caravans as the rest of the family and the children begin to also make their way. But there are protests from the Hocus's family to make sure to help others as well. To, as many of the able-bodied of the family are there trying to help get other refugees in the camp onto these wagons to get them away. And so that train begins to, that wagon begins to pull off. Do you want to go with that wagon, or do you want to stay and help?
Stay and help.
Okay.
Because at this point as well, Ari doesn't know where anybody else has gone.
Right.
So she's kind of going to go with that initial thing of like, stay put when everybody else is gone, and maybe they'll come to you. Maybe. Who
She
knows?
also has healing hands, and she knows that she has that skill, so she's very, she's very helpful in that respect as well.
She's gonna stay put and do what she can there.
Okay, so we're gonna cut to Samandra, Sky,
But she's
and
still
Liddy.
definitely curious as to especially where has Sky gone?
Okay, you know that Sky has gone south with Samandra and Libby. So.
Okay, she does.
Yes, you do absolutely know that happened.
All right, that's gonna plague her thoughts a bit.
Okay. So we're going to cut to Sky, Samandra, and Libby. Where are you? I believe you were headed south towards the front line, where the horde was beginning to make its way towards, at the south of the refugee camp. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, we were going to try and catch up with Yuseth and Jinx pretty much. So heading in whatever direction they were.
So by the time you get there, you're finding Jinx and Useth headed, basically having just finished the conversation with the niece and heading back in that general direction. So there's a joining of the group again in some element of that.
Good to see y'all are still in one piece and souls still in bodies and all that.
This is where I can just see him going, kidding.
Yeah, it's Sky. It's not looking good.
Didn't sound like it. How long we got?
They just keep coming. It's just possessed people, and they just keep getting back up. Waves and waves of them. They're gonna swarm us. There's no denying that eventually they're gonna get through. The Imperials are doing a decent job of keeping them back, but they only have so much ammo, and once they're low out, they take the city.
So what you're saying is our best luck is to get out of here.
Useth, tell me you have a brilliant plan.
Brilliant. As brilliant as blowing up a lightning barrier. We saw how well that worked.
More brilliant than that, ideally.
Wait, you're telling me that you guys tried to blow up the lighting barrier?
Another time.
No!
I thought it was just the feckin' boat.
Technically, the
Dear
boat
Lord, you guys get up to a lot of things.
Yeah, we weren't responsible for the boat, and I'm staring at Sky.
Anyways.
It was my intention to try to summon an avatar of one of them to try to convince them to help us. But my niece seems to scream blasphemy at the merest idea.
Well, does your niece have to know?
She will.
Yeah. But
And it's not like it's a quick process.
well, that's kind of makes the argument for starting sooner rather than later. I mean, we can't afford to wait too long because they will overwhelm the Imperials.
So long as they have bodies to occupy, yes.
That's a good point. Are they taking dead bodies, or are they just taking... Ugh.
So, I don't know. All I know is that I could solve the problem if I had a big enough spirit bottle. But then I could solve the problem that the well were working the way it's supposed to. There is so much, so many pieces moving right now that I do not understand.
If we went to the well, could you diagnose what's wrong with it? Could anyone?
I bet Talk probably could.
He's not exactly here right now, is he, though?
Nor is Chaos, and I bet he could do it too. But I wouldn't want his help.
Who might be here of their brethren?
I have no idea.
If they were among this crowd of refugees, I don't even know, we'd have a way of pointing them out.
No.
I don't think they would be among the refugees.
They would be in a position of power.
They would be closer either to the well, or at least one of the princes, since that seems to be who they are in collusion with. But I do not think they would be too close to the people, except for the ones that they are. My guess is that they are wherever these waves are coming from.
Huh.
If there is someone here of their ilk, that's where I would wager they would be the source of that.
You think we'd stand a chance of getting past them? Getting a look at whatever's causing it?
Not going directly to it, we would have to go around.
And by that time, who knows?
The horde could have overrun the line and be here by the time we get there. Who knows, as you say. But I do know this. If we do not find some way to stop what is happening, running will only delay things. Eventually, they will scour the entire surface of this planet for every living thing they can find.
But from what you're all saying, it would basically be a death sentence, whoever or whatever we have to do to stop this.
Die slow or die fast.
I'm not prepared to lose you again.
I'm not making it a habit to save the world. But if we don't do something to stop this horde, everything dies.
Jinx Gotterfer may be this legend that lives on beyond the centuries, but
I'm just a man, and I know it. I'm just a very lucky man.
You're a lucky son of a bitch, that's what you are.
Don't talk that way about my mother. That legend will only last so long as there are people to remember it.
Listen.
Dead men tell no tale.
This seems grim, but
Grim.
And it's looking more than likely. If we were to just flee, Uduasha would fall. And perhaps the rest of Aruvia with it. Anywhere without protection of a Latinum barrier wouldn't stand a chance. That said, as much as I hate to admit it, Aruvia might be a lost cause.
Even the lightning barriers. With the loss of the Leviathans, there will not be enough electroplasm to run it all. Slowly but surely, everything will diminish. Everything will withdraw back to the Imperial City as the one place, the last standing bastion of protection, I guarantee you, will be wherever the Emperor is. And the Imperial City, everyone will try to get there. And there is not enough space to house everyone in all of the isles. And eventually, even those lightning shields will fail, and everyone will die.
So you're saying that our best bet is to get everybody that we can out of here and build out the best defenses we can elsewhere?
Potentially.
Where do we go? Back to Duskfall?
Or you go to Scotland, you get the people across the rails, over the bridges, and then destroy those bridges so that nothing else can follow it. Once you have the last of the people out of here. Because so far as we have seen, not many things are willing, not many spectral things are willing to cross the water. That may change. But if we do not get everyone out, and we blow that bridge, any of them, we sentence everyone remaining behind to death.
I really hope the Imperials haven't already thought of this.
Knowing our luck.
You're muted, Johnny.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, Samantha.
Oh, just knowing our luck. There's a chance they already have.
And the charges are probably already in place.
I think we should consider leaving. We can...
hear the people sing the songs of argument.
Listen,
At that, you hear the shots fire again, and then you hear a cry from one of the lines that they're being overrun.
it's time to get out. We don't have a choice. We're not here to save the world, or even Uduasha. At least I'm not.
How many can we get out of the city? Do we run around in circles screaming? What do we do?
It's not up to us. Let the military do their jobs and let us get the hell out of here.
I saw Ari was doing her best to get everybody onto the carts.
Oh,
Maybe,
crap.
hopefully, she hasn't fucked that up like she does everything else. So let's get ourselves back.
That was really cold on your own character.
Self-burn.
Roasted! Oh.
What about your family, Usath?
That is exactly what I was about to say. I have come all this way to save them. I don't think I can... I can't simply leave them again.
Then let's make sure they leave. We still have transportation unless it's been commandeered.
That is going to be much harder than you think.
With
From
their
the line where
status,
they-
I mean...
From the line where the Imperials the horde broke through, you hear screams coming from, and it draws your attention. When it draws your attention, what you see is the following. For the most part, the Imperials are stepping back again, trying to reload and shoot or fight off with blades. One of the soldiers is swallowed by the horde, the bodies, and you can hear him screaming as he's being pulled back through the masses, and he disappears down the street. Screaming.
Now, we're going now. Let's go back, get Ari. Usath, you're going to have to make a pretty important decision very fast.
So yeah, I guess we're heading back towards...
Yeah. Get into the nearest cart that we can, or if there's a cart that was reserved for us, just get in the goddamn cart.
Okay, so you run your way back to the line where the carts are being kind of loaded, and you catch up with Ari as she is helping load the last of the civilians that were the refugees that were in the camp, and now the camp, the people, the city. The city guard and the city workers and everybody else who was responsible from the actual city are now beginning to jump on and fill their part as the Imperial guards or the Imperial army are just beginning to do those last trumpets are being blown, calling for the retreat, and kind of do a measured retreat to hold the line until these carts can get away.
When Ari sees Sky, she's gonna fling her arms around his neck and just be like, "I thought you were gonna leave me behind," and then slaps him and continues on with her business.
You're welcome. Ow.
Any sign of my family?
You see the last of your family beginning to jump into a new, one of the new wagons, one of the last wagons, as they were there helping. And so you see, individuals who are wearing
the blues and grays, and
the colors of your family and the symbols of your family, but you don't necessarily recognize them, but they recognize who you are because you're in your full whisper guard. And so, some of them are calling out to you and trying to get you to join them in the wagon.
How much room is there in the wagon?
There's enough space for everybody. There's a couple of wagons left. As the Imperial wagons, the armored Imperial wagons, are now pulling up, ready to evacuate them.
I kind of glance at everybody and just sort of jerk my head toward the wagon and climb in and specifically find my uncle.
Okay, so your uncle is now in one of the first wagons that got out of there. So what we'll do is we'll kind of cut to the wagon train exiting the city through the rail station towards the far side, and I'll ping it on the map for you guys just so you know where I'm talking about. So sort of on the far side here towards, I believe that's the mountain proper, the mountainside proper. Where there's sort of a staging area just outside of what that lightning barrier right now that does not appear to be lit, and it's being used as a staging area as everyone is loaded onto the next train that's expected within a couple of hours. And so there's a little bit of downtime. The journey to that location through the city from the bazaar is a combination of quiet city streets, cobblestoned, just the sound of the wagon wheels, and periodic shots in large groups, that span a couple of seconds, and then there's a long pause of a couple of minutes, and then another couple of shots and a pause, and then there's a whole horde of shots again, and back and forth until you finally exit the city. And it is a slow-going caravan. It takes about a half hour to get out of the city proper itself.
Then that will give Useth plenty of time to lean down to his uncle's ear and whisper pretty much everything that's happened. A high-level explanation.
His uncle is not in that same wagon. His uncle is... What?
That's why I said I was going to find my uncle. I meant that particular wagon.
Okay, that wagon is very far towards the front of the train. You can definitely run and catch up to it, though, and eventually do that. Okay, so by the time you get to the camp proper, the rest of you are safe on that last wagon, and Useth had that sharing of information to his uncle, to which his aunt is listening very closely to as it's happening.
And so the whole outpouring of this ends with, what do I do?
Your uncle stares off into the distance, deep in thought. The only thing missing from this situation, because you've seen this look in his eyes before, is his pipe and his favorite cushion that he would find and lean against a wall and sit in a corner, cross-legged, pondering a situation. But those two elements are missing, and so this almost looks alien, because the thoughtful staring off into the distance is not nostalgic so much as it is a stark reminder of the reality of the situation. And he looks at you finally and asks you to give him a moment with his wife. And as you step away, there are hurried whispers between the two of them.
No pun
And something.
intended.
Say what?
No pun intended.
There is an item that is passed from under his robes to her and then handed, and then he pushes her away and he just kind of leans back and begins again to stare in the distance as his eyes just begin to move, and then he closes them, and you know that your uncle is entering the ghost field.
I will attune.
As you're doing that, your aunt comes over to you. Do you really want to do this?
Do I have a choice?
There is always a choice, Useth. There is always a choice. You chose to leave us. You chose to come back. We chose to love you and accept you for who you are. We chose to fight rather than run. That's why we're one of the last families. There is always a choice. Now let me give you the options. He will not make it. He will not make the journey. We've known that for a long time, but we just couldn't accept it until now. But he can lead you to somebody who might, and I stress this, might be able to help. But it would mean his last moments would be spent defending the place that he loves. For you, I don't know what will happen, or for anybody that you might even consider bringing. But there is a moment, just a moment of hope. However, there is no certainty in this situation. That is your first choice. Your second is to leave and lead the defense and be the hope for whatever comes next. We're leaving here to do just that. But my time, his time, is done. As he diminishes, I will step back, and it is time for somebody new to be responsible, to make the decisions. Your father, love him how I do, has not been the same since your mother's passed. She sits with him nightly because she can, but it only destroys him. We are the last of our generation, and it is time for the next to be responsible. And so I give you a third choice. And she opens up her hands, and in her hands is the brooch that represents the responsibility of the family. To make decisions for the family and not for the self. You have not chosen a partner. You do not have children. You are in a unique position because of your world experiences. We don't know what we're going to find in the outside world, Hocus. And she uses that name. Yes, I know that name. I heard it in the echoes of those who walk with you. You can be Useth and you can be Hocus, or you can be one or the other. But they will need your counsel. My children, their children. I will be your pillar to build a new generation for our family. So you may go with him. And she nods back to your uncle, who you can see there in the ghost field. You can run with your friends. Or you can lead us to whatever's next. But the choice is yours.
You say that going with him, there is a sliver of hope. If what he plans to lead me to, and whoever might, as you specify, be able to help, possibly. Should that plan come to its fullest fruition, would the need for any of this continue? Or will it stop it at the source?
No. Let me tell you what's really going on here, Seth. The demon princes have returned. Our offerings, our prizes, our tributes gave them true power. There was once a fight, and they lost, and the world was sundered. But now they have returned to finish the job, to finish the goal, to bring about the circumstances with which they originally came. The sliver of hope that I speak of is that your uncle would have you choose. It's only a chance to keep them at bay. I offer you the opportunity to figure out what's next. That is my choice for you. And your friends, and she looks at them. She looks around at Sky and Ari and Samandra, at Libby and Jinx. I know what's in their hearts too. It's obvious. I can see it. They want you to live. They want you to escape. To be whatever it is that they need you to be. So they offer you the third choice.
And so Useth will look at each of his friends. If you had it to choose solely for yourself, where would you go? What would you do?
I'd leave all this behind.
And
Run.
to
Who knows? Not important.
could be.
We've been trying to do work, or I've been trying to do work as we've gone on this trip. Suppose I'd just keep that up. Make deals, sell drugs, collapse an empire, whatever it happens to be. but I wouldn't risk my life here.
Would you return to Duskwall?
That's where things led me. Sure.
What of you, Ari?
I'll go wherever he goes.
That kind of looks over a little bit.
So what? Sounds fun. She just goes back to her drink and like tries to kind of play it off casually.
You're muted.
Fair enough.
Thank you.
It was just my gate was too high there.
No, not you. No. Joff was muted.
I was born in Scotland, but I was raised in Duskfall. I don't know where my home is. I'd love to think I could return to Scotland and... Anyway. I think it's time to return to Duskfall.
Samandra.
Well, I'm not about to let this bugger get lost again. And it seems to me like it's the only hope we've really got.
He looks over at Libby and doesn't really say her name, but looks at her like, eh. And presumably she says something.
I'm gonna let Sky determine what that would be because I think he was part of the character creation for that. So, what do you think Libby would say?
I'm trying to think.
Damn it, Kitty, for not being here at this dramatic moment.
Something along the lines of like, well, you know me, darling.
I know.
Yeah, do that accent you love so much. They're
Well, I'm sure I just don't know. I mean, I only just got to know you. Y'all been so kind. I'd be remiss to part so soon. And it's so sad to see y'all looking like you might be split up.
That's well done.
And so, is that everybody? Did I forget anyone?
Yeah, you forgot Sky's sister.
No, she's not here.
She's on the train.
She's on the train.
You forgot Libby's cat.
Although.
Okay.
Oh, and don't forget all of these rat dioramas.
Much like with the cat, don't care. I'll find her a ghost cat somewhere.
You have a ghost following you to talk to?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, don't care.
Fiddle and Jot are not there with
No.
him. So they're not pestering the shit out of him like they usually would.
Right. And so, having taken in everybody, he'll turn back to his aunt. I'm not certain what I can do here, but I know that part of the source of what is going on here, chaos in particular.
At that, she spits, and does one of those very gypsy sort of
Yep.
kind of curse things.
He in particular is almost certainly still in Duskwall. As is Talk, who may be able to offer some sort of suggestion. Hopefully more than he did last time. If you ask me to make the choice, and he holds out his hand for the brooch.
She hands it over, and she closes your hand around it, and she offers a prayer. And she steps back and then gives you the honored bow that you would for the head of your family. How may I be of service?
How long will Abashi try to hold the line? Will she sacrifice herself?
That child is stubborn. As stubborn as you were. Yes, she will try to hold the line. But she will listen to you. She will listen because you are now responsible for us.
Then I will go and fetch her.
I would make a suggestion.
Oh, of course, please, by all means. I've been asking people to do that since I got here.
Do not linger long in the city. It took them weeks to take the first district. The rest have fallen very quickly. Shorter and shorter. Their powers amassed when the well stopped completely.
Wish I understood why.
I don't know, but I will tell you what the rumor is among those of us who have read the ancient texts. The well was ultimately a power source for something else. It fed so that some balance in the world kept the princes at bay. Something has changed that. We evacuate because we believe it is the best action. But secretly, those of us that whisper, we believe that if that power is ever unleashed, Udwasha will not be here. And so we secretly hope that enough of us get away before that happens. And I recommend you going. There are only a couple hours. This next train may be the last. The Imperial garrison is beginning to evacuate, and those that are left will have to move across the Deadlands through the mountains.
Very well. Return as quickly as I can. And he gets up and starts to make his way back.
As you're beginning to step away, I'm going to prompt the other players to see what you guys would like to do. But you notice that the spectral manifestation of your uncle in the ghost field looks at you, concerned at first. And then there is a slight smile as he fades, and you see consciousness come back to his body. And as his wife, your aunt, moves over to him you see that they get an opportunity to share final moments as you begin to move on. What does the rest of the group do?
What's Hocus doing?
Heading back to get his niece.
That's all you're going to do?
Get her and bring her. Yeah.
Not doing anything.
At this point, Ari's feeling pretty stubborn. She felt like she got left behind last time, so she's just kind of... So what are we doing? Hmm?
If Hocus
Are
wants
we
to
following
risk his
Mr.
laugh,
Ghostman?
if Hocus wants to risk his laugh to go fetch his niece, that's his prerogative, not ours. We're on our way out. No
Cool.
worries.
So we're finding the best spots on the train, right?
We'll be in our same car, I think.
I was gonna say.
You can have the nice bunk.
Excellent. And she's just going to saunter on in,
We're still in
looking
the
over her
caravan.
shoulder with a bit slight glare.
We're still in the caravan leaving the city right now, I think. In the
No,
Are
you're
we?
not.
Are we?
You're not in the caravan leaving the city. You are actually. So you're at the staging point now.
Okay.
Right. So the train has not arrived yet. Your car is of course placed off to the side. You probably should still make arrangements to have it included on the last train out.
We'll do that.
Right!
Yeah. What's Jinx and Samandra doing?
Yeah, Jinx is actually gonna lead Sam to the side. I didn't think when I said Duskfall. What do you want, Samandra? And don't. The truth.
The truth. After all these years, I think you'd know what the truth is. I just
And-
gave up everything. And what for? Who for?
I was going to say, after all of these years, you'd think you know better. Wherever I go, I need you there. I'm better because of you. But if we go back to Duskfall, there's going to be a price on your head.
I guess it gives me a bit of the taste of your life.
I wish it didn't. Do you remember, how often do you think about the orphanage?
Every day.
Yeah, me too. I wish I had known more of Scotland before I ended up in that god-awful orphanage.
Oh, it was a dumpster pile.
It was. It really, really
That's
was.
putting it kindly.
And the only way I could get out was to run away and join the army and go to war. And that's all I've ever known. I knew that orphanage, and then I knew war, and now all I have is my life in Duskfall and my life with these people. And
We
I'm
found family wherever we went. But you never forget your first family.
well, that's why if you wanted to run, I would run. I
Right?
would leave my name behind. I would run.
So basically, what I've always wanted us to do, you're finally willing to do it.
For you, yes. but I need to hear you say it.
Well, this puts me into a bit of a predicament, doesn't it?
I know, and you can think about it. You don't have to answer right now. I'm just saying, I don't want to be selfish. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be someone worthy of you. And I don't know how to do that. I'm trying. And my attempts to help my people, and my attempts to stick it to the Imperials, I'm sorry. I keep failing, Sam. I keep failing, and it would just be nice to win one of them. And I have an opportunity with you where I could win.
How funny it is that when we finally hear the words that we've always wanted to hear, how much more confusing that actually makes everything that we want.
Sure. And like I say, you don't have to answer that question right now. We can go back to Duskfall, and we'll look after each other, and if you're willing, you can help me look after these bunch of idiots. Because you just know that we're going to get into more trouble. And now there's a world to save. So I'm just saying, if that doesn't work and you want to run, take my hand and we will run. And I kiss Samandra and I just I head back over towards the carriage.
She's going to hold his hand as he walks back in to the carriage, because it's the take my hand, so she's gonna just follow.
That was so endearing. That was awesome, guys.
And now I'm going to kill people.
All of Useth's family.
Okay, we're going to cut to Seth. Or, sorry,
wait.
Sky, go ahead.
Because I said nothing before I realized that we were actually back at the trains already.
Okay.
I was told where I could find Marique. Or not Marique, the Marique's former student. The guy who makes the
Marique
lure
is
that I
currently in a dungeon held by the Shroud.
What?
That's what happens when you don't give up on the Shroud.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was pretty intent on him keeping that book.
Yeah, well, the results of that happened last night, and there was some pretty crazy stuff going on there. But anyways. Hey, Jinx, you aren't the worst person to do something to a child, just FYI.
Yet.
Wow, what a qualifier there.
Still a long train right ahead.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I'd like to go to that bar and try to find him.
Okay.
Are we still on the train, or is this still before the train's gone?
Before the train's gone. Useth still has to go and get his niece. His family is getting loaded onto they're preparing to get loaded onto the train because the train has not arrived yet. And so before Useth gets to go back into the city and find his niece, Sky is going to go to that bar. All right. Mm-hmm. You did find the location. You do know where you're going to find him, but the thing is, you didn't accept the coin that was going to broker the conversation for you.
Correct. That was a mistake on my part, or on Sky's part, at least. But
yeah, God, Sky keeps putting his foot in his mouth and getting himself into trouble. What's up with that?
It's almost like he's played by someone who does that a lot.
Okay, so you enter the bar, and it's actually looking quite lively, as there appears to be a celebration of sorts, as most of the individuals in there are Arcosian or Akarosian, who have been there to support the garrison in some way, shape, or form, and they are drinking up all of the liquor because the proprietor is like, we're leaving, drinks are on me. And so there was a lively amount of activity going on there. I think Ari should have gone there with you. So
I
think Ari is there, and when she sees the drinks are flowing,
She's
in her
That sounds
Start
right.
this flask, and then we'll drink everything else.
I think I said the name of this person before, but I don't remember what it was.
Don't you remember it from your great backstory that you wrote?
I never wrote that name in the backstory.
Oh, okay. Well, we're just going to assume we're going to call him the apprentice. Because I don't remember, because I don't have it in my notes either.
Okay, so you find Disney princess. What are you gonna do?
And Hocus Trendane just volunteered to play the character.
Is that what he's gonna sound like? As a true Aruvian?
This is a classic Teruvian accent. Yeah.
Do mothers birth morons just to upset me?
All right, well, I'll go into the bar. I'll walk up to the bartender and I'll say, I'm looking for someone. Goes by the apprentice.
He's pouring drinks. You start handing him out to the serving girl who's moving through the crowd. Do you want something while I got plenty. How about you, dear? Do you want something? And he points over to Ari.
You know what's fun? Alcohol. I'll have two.
Oh, okay. And he brings it back.
All
and
of it.
He brings over 2 bottles of some of the best stuff. You look like you like this. Here, that's on the house. We're shutting down. So, sir, you said something about the apprentice. Are you sure I can't get you a drink before?
I'll take a whiskey.
Reaches back. Here's some Scotland whiskey. The person you want is drinking over there in that corner off in the back. You might want to go catch him. I believe he's about to head out to go get with his caravan to get on their train that's about to come in. We're all going to get out of here sooner than later, but I've got to burn a few things before. So yeah, over in that corner booth. And
Will do. Much obliged.
To start serving drinks to other people.
Come on, Ari. Target's over here.
Target.
She's like tucking bottles under her arms.
Right? Anyone want to get weird and play Mario Kart? No.
No drinking and driving. Not again. All right. I approach this man in the corner and I sit down at the table with him. Set down my drink. So, believe we know each other one way or another.
Okay,
Name's
you see.
Sky.
That's very nice for you. You see, all of the alcohol is free. That does not mean companionship is.
Well, I'm not just looking for companionship. It's
He's
the
got
end of the
me.
world, my friend. Time to do business.
Right. Not your friend either. It appears that you know who I am, but how do I put this delicately? Who in the living fuck are you?
I almost just hit you. I almost just lost control and hit you. Almost.
That is a very involved name, even for Eruvia.
We know what it is that you make, and we happen to be resellers of it. From across the Void Sea over in Duskwall.
Then what are you doing here? As you can see, business is not exactly booming right now.
That's just the thing. See, figured with Udwasha getting shut down and, well, rest of Ruvia might come soon. You're looking pretty strapped, I imagine. Or, well, contacts aren't what they used to be, alright?
No, they are not. And neither is my supply.
Well, what is it that you need?
Leviathan blood.
Figures as much.
As the supply of those wondrous creatures continues to diminish, so too does what I can offer up.
Right. Well, I may have a solution for you. See, there's a Leviathan hunting company over in Duskfall. I think they spread out here too sometimes. Happen to have a bit of a connection. I've got people to sell to. Got people to supply Leviathan parts. All I need is a recipe. Imagine you're not willing to give that up so easily.
No, and you not only need the recipe, you also need the mechanisms to be able to make it.
Right. Well, that's where you come in.
That's where I came in, past tense. My shop, such as it was, and I do emphasize was, is a little bit, let's go with destroyed. I will have to start all over again. My supply that I had, my stock, that is gone. It is not as if I can carry huge casks of what I offer onto a train full of Imperials.
Of course.
So I would have to start all over again. So the only thing that I have that is worth any amount of collateral in negotiation is the recipe.
Right. So, what would it take for you to be willing to share?
To share the recipe?
If not the recipe, then your skills?
Well, they go hand in hand. Because as soon as someone else learns the recipe, that is the great thing about secrets, is that for every ear that hears it, there is usually a mouth connected to it that cannot shut itself up. So,
Well, don't look at me.
I wasn't, but since you have drawn my attention, fine, I will presume that you are one of them. So, what I would need from you, if you could provide it, is a base of operations from which to operate. That's why it's called the base of operations, I think. Some place to work, to build a new distillery, as it were. Some place which has ready access to Leviathan blood, Leviathan parts, and the necessary machinery and alembics and everything else that are required to create what I offer.
I'm certain that can be arranged.
Are you? So is that why you came here? You drag this lovely creature all the way down from Duskfall just to find me in the midst of all of this And he almost says chaos, but he doesn't want everybody around him to start spitting. So,
Well, I'm going to show you that everything is about me. It always is.
Perhaps I should specify that such carnal requirements are not part of the negotiations, however pleasant they might be. But
I have a lot going on under the surface, okay? I'm like a river in winter.
Frigid, then.
Touché.
Ow. I wish I hadn't said that.
Well, listen. There may be other reasons that we travel, but that's not really of your concern, is it? I've offered you what it is you want. You'll have a solid supply and a solid source of buyers.
And yet I have only your word for all of that. Under other circumstances, granted, I would insist on proof. There is a point at which every apprentice must surpass their master. I think it is fairly safe to say that I may well have done this as he who trained me, whom I presume you know, or we would not be speaking. I had not heard from him in a great while, so it is entirely possible that something has befallen him, which would mean that I am no longer the apprentice. I do like the sound of this, but a master with no art in which to trade is little more than a barker. So, what proof can you give me that you have what you offer?
Just look at our track record, dude. We have a very good standing in the places that we've been. We have our own logo. We're Goat's Ghostly Goods.
Would he have heard of this?
Probably not, unless you've heard of Goatchella.
Well, Coachella is not just a recent thing, right?
You're right. Unless you've heard about the most recent one.
Right.
We were the recent sponsors of Goatchella.
He would have heard of Goatchella specifically because of the event of the Leviathan, right? So there would be a lot of scrutiny and a lot of stories being told about that. So in some way, shape, or form, Goat's Ghostly Goods would have been mentioned at least once, probably in a paper talking about the event.
Look, let's throw the expected out the window, and she's gonna take her glass and toss it to what she thinks is an open window and say it's gonna smash against, and she's gone, that's a very clean window.
Yes, the Amanj, the proprietor, prides himself on clean glasses.
I see. Look. We're the best bet you have at this situation. Look, everyone is literally running out the door, grabbing as many bottles as they can. You're not going to be getting an offer like this anytime soon.
It is not simply that you are the best bet that I have. You are the only bet that I have. It is either that or take up a new line of work.
Now your skills, I'm sure, could find something more legitimate, but nothing quite pays as well.
That is true. One of the great things about knowing how to make the things that I make is that I also know how to make many healing tinctures and medicinals and things that physicers require. And I make them very well. but you are right. The pay is less, though the job is more altruistic. Not that altruism pays the bills, and mine are significant.
How much are you in for?
Marique had a few. Is it logical to presume that Marique had a few debts?
While he was in Aruvia?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was,
Okay.
I mean, he was cast out from the university and everything.
Yeah, okay. Had a few unpaid debts, which upon his disappearance passed on some of them to me. Unwittingly, perhaps, but I do have some tables to wipe clean, as it were. All told, probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 Imperial coin.
That ain't cheap.
No, it is not.
And a chance those people you owe money to being walking around inside those barriers still? I'll laughless lack.
I was going to say that at least two of them are more shambling than walking, yes. Some of the others, at least one that I know of. Unfortunately, the one to whom the Leviathan share that is owed, I know that he made it away to the Imperial City. The other one, I do not know. He could be here. Not in the bar, I would recognize him, but he could be in the refugees attempting to flee from this oh so glorious vacation spot.
I do like the way that the sun hits off of the dusky windows.
Only at sunrise and sunset.
Well,
So, if you are offering effectively whatever I need to start over, which is my price, then I believe we could come to an accord, yes.
sounds good to me.
And at
Check
that,
on
to punctuate that statement, you hear a whistle that indicates that the train is beginning to arrive.
Time to move forward like a shark and a trank dart, gentlemen. I believe we have a deal.
I was going to say Shalinak, his actual name. At
it.
which point,
Bird flies up your wrist.
and he looks a little surprised. It's like, oh.
Well done, Sky. You finally got one on somebody without them thinking about it. Okay, we're gonna cut to Usath making his way back into the city. You ask for some indication as to where the front line is of the defense as the evacuations continue, and you get an indication that they are farther up the main boulevard that leads all the way to the well.
Mm-hmm.
The one that you took initially to go down towards the bazaar
Park, yeah. Well,
yeah. So making your way down there, the city is completely evacuated. But every time that you're stopped, you, of course, you have the writ that you were given that allows you to get through. So when you find the front line, you can see that they're set up actually farther down the avenue than before. If you're looking at the map, they're actually here right now. And you get a clear shot of the well for the first time, being close enough. You can see that the covers, the slats that are kind of are used to diminish the light during daytime, or sorry, the night. What would be considered the nighttime. They are completely covering it, and the gleam is still coming off of it. And the centerpiece above, where the apparatus is to operate all of that, and to operate some of the machinery that operates with the energy of the well. That looks mostly abandoned. And as you arrive, you kind of scan the garrison, the front line, and you see that your niece is currently talking with a couple of other whisperers, talking to a lieutenant in the Imperial Army.
I will step up close enough to overhear, but not to interject myself into the conversation just yet.
They're talking about how they lost the camp completely. That once all of the stragglers that were left in the camp accidentally were taken, that the horde moved back. And that the last sighting of the horde was again towards the park.
And so then I will step in. Is there a predictable period of time between these surges?
Uncle, what are you doing here? You should be
for,
evacuating.
I've come for you.
I told you, I will probably die here.
And I am here to make certain that does not happen. However, is there a regular increment in the surges?
No.
So there is no telling when they will surge again.
They come for the largest group. One of the Imperial lieutenant looks to you and says, they come for the largest group. And he gives you a bow. And for the first time, your niece notices that you are the head of a family. And the lieutenant is not a Ruvian, but he sees that you are the head of a family, and so he bows and gives you that respect of an outsider. So he knows the proper Ruvian tradition of how an outsider should acknowledge the head of a family. They come for the largest group. There is one other camp that we're farther behind, and so we are in the way while the wagons move to evacuate them.
How long will that take?
The wagons, as I understand it, the last message we got was that the wagons are still being unloaded and repurposed for this next trip. There are more ailing, more of the sick and the infirm.
In that
they chose as a group to be the last evacuated. We just heard the whistle of the train as well. We know that there is a short time, and that if we cannot give them that time, then we too will be left to our own devices.
How many people do you have?
What you see here, and as you kind of take in the surrounding, there is only about 50 left on this line. We lost about 50% of our group.
And how many are in the last camp?
My understanding is that there is about 75.
All right. Now, having seen the horde move,
Mm-hmm.
and having an idea of how slowly they move.
They progress, yeah.
Yeah. Could someone carrying or helping along someone who is infirm move faster than that?
Absolutely.
All right. Then this is what I believe we should do. Each of your men grabs someone from this last camp and starts moving them by hand up the road back to the staging area. This will reduce the number of carts that we require, and it will speed the evacuation. I recognize that we do not have enough people to do it all, but at least it will do some. We move now, while there is, at present, no surge of the horde, and hopefully we can get enough people up to the staging area and set up as much of a defense there as we can while the trains are loaded and head out.
That would leave this... We are the most direct path for the horde to come. That would leave this defenseless. How do you expect us to... The sacrifice that my men made on that line to get that last camp out, we are willing to do that again, but we are not going to allow anyone to get past us until that camp is evacuated. We do this, there's no guarantee.
Given how big the carts are, how many people can be fit on each cart?
Somewhere between 7 and 8. Wounded or infirm, kind of laid down, would be a maximum of 4.
Thus leaving a total of 25 to be moved by cart, if we took everybody by hand effectively. At present, they always go for the largest group. So that would be you and your men helping the infirm.
Yes. But they have to come through us to get to them.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Take everyone off the line. Everyone who's here goes to that camp, grabs someone and takes them. There will be no one here. We move faster than they do, even bearing the burden of the infirm. We let them shamble their way while we move people up to the train station, and we constantly load people on. We set up a barricade up there because there are far more soldiers there than you have here. And they're going to get there anyway, eventually.
And at that, your niece perks up and she says, I hate to admit it, but he's right. We do better, we do more good if we help versus defending. And the lieutenant, at her saying that, the conflict plays across him because he has his orders. He has the orders of what he's supposed to do. All right. But we move as groups. 4 groups, one at a time, so that there is a staggered hold the line if they come. That's the only way I'm doing this.
I will stand with you. And he looks over at Abashi and says, as will you.
She bows, uncomfortable, but for the first time formal, bowing to the head of her family. Uncle, may I have a word?
You may have as many as you need.
And she steps over, off to the side, and the lieutenant begins to disseminate the information and form up the first line. Mostly soldiers, but 2 whispers to go with each, as there is only 8 whispers left, including you and
Abashi,
your niece. And the first begins to take off, and she looks at them as she... What has happened? Why do you wear...
I was given a choice of 3 options. To either follow your father through the veil to whatever solution potential that there was, however slim, presumably down there. Or I could take my friends and run. Or I could take this and figure out what we do. This seemed the wisest option. I have, as your mother indicated, more knowledge of the world outside of Udawasha than any other member of our family. And I say, we go to Duskwall. We find my, as close to a friend as I think we could call him, Talk, who is a self-proclaimed enemy of chaos, for one who also claims to be his brother. Yes, the spelling, I know. And we find a way to stop him, if possible.
You can see the emotion play across her face as she's taken off her mask. Complex elements of all of these things. You can see that she was being groomed eventually to take on the burden that is the responsibility of the family, that her mother and father were doing their job in training, the child that they of their brood that they felt was the most responsible to do this. Okay. I have one final question. Is my father still with us?
As of when I left.
Then we must hurry.
And I would ask something of you.
Of course. And she makes a gesture indicating that the head of her family is...
And Daddy's like, no, this is not for this. This is me, Oseth, asking you, Abashi. I have been away from our family for a long, long time. I need your help to run and guide the family with as much wisdom as I possibly can. That is what I ask.
She shakes her head, an informal gesture of yes,
Mm-hmm.
and then follows it with a formal bow to the head of her family. I am at your service.
And let us be at theirs.
And so time passes. The next garrison or the next squad moves up, and the next squad moves up, and so you're the last of the line, and you can see that the horde is beginning to make the move. They are very far off in the distance, but they are coming down that main avenue. And in the light of the well, there's a large number of them that you can see shifting and moving in that. And so the call comes up that confirmation has come up. There was a signal, a sound that was going to be used, like not like a whistle, but more of a trumpet of some kind that was going to be blown to be very loud to give the signal that the group had arrived. That final signal has come, and the lieutenant is getting that final group and kind of corralling it. He looks at you and he says, I think it's time. You're sure about this? We can still make a good stand.
I think we make a better one up there.
He looks down the avenue at the horde and then begins to move, and his men begin to follow him as you and your niece begin to move back. You notice several shadows moving across your field of vision in front of the horde. One of them, very short, very stocky, kind of ambling his way across. and then they kind of disappear on the far side, probably a good eighth of a mile down the avenue.
Any indication, or I imagine the glare from the well is probably a little bit too bright, but any indication of color?
Yes. He wears, and it's definitely he wears shining orange.
Familiar?
Different.
Oh.
Because the other talk wore red.
Mm-hmm.
And the squad begins to move up the avenue.
Curious.
Okay. So your plan works. The evacuation happens. The horde never actually reaches. And you find yourself back at the camp as the train is being loaded, and Sky and Ari and Jinx and Samandra and Libby have organized the ability for the cart to get onto the car to be attached to the train, and you can see that the evacuation is proceeding as planned. And the last line at the gates, behind the essentially the gates where the horde, or where the rail station is that meets the actual city, you can see that the garrison there, the company that has essentially put themselves in place, does not appear to be fielding any attack as of yet.
Who is there that looks to be in charge?
There is a number of people in charge, including I believe it was the captain that Samandra spoke to in that office.
We'll just peek in real quick and say, I believe we have as many as the last of the people from Uduwash as we can manage to muster out. Have you any spark rights?
Sure. That's an unusual question to come from a whisper, though.
Yes, I know. What I'm wondering is if it's possible for them to set up a temporary fence.
We're already on it.
Very good, then.
It won't last, though.
I know that. It doesn't have to last long, only long enough. And out he goes.
Okay. And these are your last moments at the edge of Uduwasha. How do you guys want to proceed?
Ari's feeling quite good riddance about all of this. She's not going to miss any of it. She didn't make much coin. She didn't get much of anything. She's just like, well, that was just a bunch of drama. I am ready to go home. Not like home isn't drama free, but at least there's less. There's less war, but coin. Good coin. Good brews. Good.
Fun.
Is the apprentice coming with us on our train car?
I don't know. Is he? I mean, that sounded like the arrangement, right? Is that you were giving him?
Yeah. Well, it sounded like he already had arrangements to get out of the city. I'm just wondering if he would change those, or if he would prefer to be.
Technically, you're his new employer, and technically he's under contract. So I don't think that he is going to let you out of his sight.
Fair enough. Cool. So yeah, I'd head back to the train car, introduce everyone. This is the apprentice. He's gonna be working with us now.
The apprentice of what? Or whom?
Man by the name of Marik.
Where is Marik?
Duskfall. Not important. What is important is that he knows how to make lure.
Oh. And basically, Hocus grabs his knees, not grabs her, but brings her over to her father and mother and stands there with them.
Hi, I'm Ari. Nice to meet all of you. You must be Ghostman's pet family.
And none of them extend their hand. They all just kind of stand there with their arms folded and just sort of nod.
Okay, I see how it is.
It runs in the family. Okay.
I think they're having a moment. It's probably best if leave them be.
No, she went to tried to go to all of his family, and they all were like,
Respect is shown to Ari, though.
Yes.
Because she helped with the uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And while there is some reluctant acknowledgement, you actually get a hug from his aunt for your service to the family.
And somehow, miraculously, even though she gets like a hug as one of the reactions, she's just like, I think genuine emotion makes me feel uncomfortable.
Okay. What about Jinx? What are Jinx and Samandra doing in this situation? I mean, this you're leaving Udwasha at this point.
Yeah.
Is it bittersweet? Is it sweet?
It's sweet. I mean, Jinx feels like they're saving more than they sacrificed. Jinx isn't doing too well after the fight, but he does feel like this time they're doing the right thing. They've done everything they can. There is no option. So Jinx is feeling pretty good, just a little anxious to get moving.
This is probably one of the first times where we've seen them be really like coupley on the train. Like actually, I'm thinking like at least sat next to each other, still either hand in hand or even like Samandra resting her head on his shoulder, just trying to like wish the time away.
You'll even see Jinx attempt to smile.
That like...
I'm sure Libby would have something to say about that.
Yes.
Well, aren't you two just the cutest?
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I imagine that Libby has already started on the diorama that is going to be Jinx and Samandra.
Yes.
Oh no.
I have no doubt.
It's funny, Jinx and Libby have yet to have a one-on-one conversation, and I'm looking forward to that because I hope it involves a rat.
All the best
What's
things
those
in
with
life
her?
do, right?
And so
Ari at this point is probably like, just helping herself to any alcohol that's in their little bar that they have in their
She
cart.
probably brought enough back to restock the whole thing.
Oh, yeah. And the cards are coming out as per usual. Just playing with her cards, getting drunk. And keeping her eye on everything, mostly Sky.
okay.
When Sky, is anything different with Lyra when Sky gets back? Because that would probably be the first thing he does.
She's unusually quiet. She is, and the thing that you get from her is that it sounds silent out there. Duskwall is loud with spirits, right? There's a lot of activity, and while there is some activity in Udwasha, given the circumstances of the well, it's much quieter. And she remarks about that and almost looks like it's peaceful. Like it settles her a little bit because it's so quiet.
How many genuinely young, like children within Useth's family are there present?
I think that's really up to you. I imagined that there is a small group, no more than 5 or 6. But it wouldn't surprise me that, given the way that we've talked about this, there are at least 3 or 4 generations of your family, alive, and then being the youngest, maybe there's a baby or 2 as well, kind of a thing.
Well, I would imagine that not the infants, but the children This is probably one of the first times that they've ever seen a ghost anywhere near reconciled, or at least up and about and moving that wasn't trying to kill them.
Right.
So Hocus would probably encourage Lyra to sing, as she is sometimes wont to do.
Lyra would be a little bit shy at first because she doesn't usually sing for anyone. She just kind of does it for herself, let alone to an entire crowd of people or of other kids. Which I imagine, like, the children, so to speak, are probably a little bit younger than she was, because she was like 14 or so. But she'll kind of look down at them and start to sing a gentle tune. Just a few notes. She won't go through an entire song, because as she sees their faces sort of light up a little bit with excitement, she gets shy again and kind of shuts down.
Well, they will probably start trying to teach her some, at least the ones who can sing, a few traditional Eruvian songs as well. So
All children can sing. It's only as we grow as adults that we can't.
Right.
And so, with all of that going on, the train whistle acknowledges that they will be leaving. And you can see that there are some stragglers that are being left behind. Those who are choosing to stay. Most of them are Eruvian, of the old guard. Really just...
This is my home. I'm not abandoning it no matter what.
Yes. A couple of others are imperial in nature, and they have wagons and they have goats. And there's a couple of horses, and they are equipped to make the journey across the Deathlands. You see that they have weapons and Sparkrite tools and that kind of a thing. And you see that, for the most part, those that are being left behind are choosing to do so as the last, to protect the last train out. The train begins to get pulled, and from somewhere else in the train, one of the members of your family makes their way back to the car and implores you and your niece to come to your uncle, who is in one of the cars move, towards the forward where the sick and the infirm are being taken care of. And when you arrive there, your aunt indicates that it's his time, it's his final moments, that he will still be with us, but that he wanted to say goodbye as a mortal, as a living entity to you and to his daughter. And the exchange between you and him is brief. Saying that he will be there for you, when you need his guidance and his counsel. That our lives have changed and that you must guide us, but we will provide our shared knowledge. And he thanks you for taking the burden. And then he asks for a moment with his daughter. And as his daughter is sitting there, kneeling next to him, your aunt pulls you aside and says, "What does the world hold for us? What can we expect out there? The well has always protected us, and our service was different."
When I left, as I said, I removed the mantle of the Whisper, folded it neatly and put it away in a box under the bed. For 20 years, I had abandoned everything I had learned in the first half of my life. And it was not until all of this began to come up that I stopped simply being a courier, someone who carries messages from one. I guess perhaps it is not so different from being a whisper. Really more mundane, but still the same process. What does the world hold? Thievery, murder, dishonesty, love, hatred, jealousy, envy, happiness, tears, love, goats, lots of eels. I hope you like eel. If you don't, you'll acquire a taste for it. And we have some spices that help. The best and the worst of what every single race can bring to the table. All mixed together in a confusing, aggravating, wonderful, and terrible hodgepodge of experience. It will be shocking. It will be improper. It will be irreverent. And it will be beautiful all at the same time. Nothing I can tell you can really prepare you for what there is. You simply have to learn to ride the currents.
She looks at you, looking away from her daughter and her husband for a moment. She says, "How is that any different than serving the princess?"
There is more hope.
She looks down, shakes her head. She says, "I hope that's enough." And she moves over to the side of her husband as he passes. And thus begins the process of him rising. So we're going to cut through the big long train ride and hit a couple of stops. The first being the Imperial City, where there was a short layover of a couple of hours, thus giving Ari the opportunity to acknowledge tips and decide what she'd really like to do.
Hello, love. How was your trip?
Two seconds, and she's going to like grab Sky by the collar and like pull him over to a side.
Hello again, Tips.
Look,
Yeah, I'm still here.
Sky. You stay over there, sir. She looks at Tibbs like, you stay there. And she's literally just pulling Sky to a side. Look. Tell me right now. This has been going on for a while. We've been kind of paddling around, dipping our feet into the shallow end and testing the waters. And I get it. I'm down for this game. But is there an end to it? Or are we bringing in other players?
Ari, I wish wish I had an answer for you, but I don't. Nothing in this world is certain. Nothing that I do is certain from one day to the next.
I'm not asking you to be certain about everything. I'm just asking you to know one thing. Am I a card in the deck? Or should I find another game to play?
You're not just a card in the deck, Ari, but I'm not here to play games. And maybe if circumstances were different, something could work, but I'm not.
Oh.
I'm not capable of that sort of thing. I don't think I have been for a long, long time.
Right. Okay. Fine. This is great. This is fine. You know what? I see. We have a timer. There's a countdown going on. I'm going to finish what we started here. And I'm going to go.
Leave. You don't have to leave. I wasn't... No. Maybe that is best.
Look, for years, you've been going by what you think you should do, right? And you've been doing this whole thing with your sister and all of that jazz. And I was cool with that. I was getting to know her. I was fine talking to myself, essentially, coming across as the crazy one because everybody knows Arya's crazy and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But it gets to a point, Sky, where I'm getting tired of not knowing the rules anymore. I'm meant to be making the rules, not following someone else's. At least Tip's game, I know how to play. I know how it works.
I didn't realize it was... I didn't know I was... We play games. I didn't think that you were really... I don't know, Ari. Look,
It's fine. Really. It's fine.
Sorry, for what it's worth. And you're welcome to leave if you want to. I'm not about to force you. We don't have a ghost contract. You don't have to do anything, but I do like having you around still. Your company is worth more to me than just what I contracted you to do at first.
You didn't even have me in a contract in the first place. think I'm one of the few people here that never got marked with your little sparrow tattoos. I did this because I wanted to. Because it sounded fun at the time. But now, everywhere we go, it's death and destruction and boats blowing up and uncertainty of whether we're going to live or die. And, you know, there's a part of me that can kind of get off to that part, but not when it's a constant struggle of, do I have to suddenly put a bunch of people in a cart every few minutes?
You're right. People get hurt. We hurt people. And sometimes we try to help, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes we make things worse, and man, it is hard to decide that sometimes. It's a wild ride, Ari. I hope you've enjoyed at least some of it.
I was hoping to continue more. Just give me a reason, Sky.
If nothing else, Ari, you're a part of this family. You, me, Hocus, Grin, or you, Seth, Jinx. I mean, it was devastating enough to lose Sling.
Tell me about it. I miss her so much. Don't tell her I said that.
Pretty sure she knows.
Fuck.
Well, you okay with staying in this, at least for a little while longer? We're in this mess together.
Let's just say I'm not going to tell Tips to go fuck himself just yet. But sure. I'm in for now.
Thank you. Honestly. Thank you for all that you've done. I know that, you know, make fun sometimes. You are an indispensable part of this team and an indispensable friend.
At that point, she's just gonna look at him with probably the most sincerity she's ever looked at anyone. She's gonna kiss him on the cheek and then say, I hate you.
Let's do.
Walk away.
Right. Yeah, Sky goes back to the train car, and I imagine Ari's probably just gonna drink for a while. But hopefully come back before the train leaves.
Probably on Tips' dime. Does anybody else want to do anything while in the Imperial City, Jinx?
Yes. I want to pay a visit to the Jinx Godifer, the tavern.
I believe it was called the Jinx's
Jinx's Gambit.
Jinx's Gambit, that's right.
Jinx's Gambit.
Yeah.
And literally, I'm going to go there and drink water, and I just want to listen to the room. I want to see if anything has shifted since we were here Is what's it been a handful of days?
So the train time is 5 days from the Imperial City to Aruvia. You were in Aruvia for about 48 hours.
Okay, that's enough time for the seeds we sowed to maybe
and the seeds
garner something.
Did start to take. There is a growing sentiment among the patrons that while the plight of the Skullwinder in the Imperial City is not as desperate, but the reality of what's going on to their fellow countrymen or region men, however you want to describe it, in other parts is sowing some unrest. And that's people are whispering, Jinx is making the call. Jinx will stand for us when the time is right. And there's whispered and hushed tones about that.
I will lead the room in a couple verses of the man they call Jinx. Down my water and leave.
Okay.
Stood up to the rich and he gave to the poor. Stood up to the man and he gave him what for. Our love for him now ain't too hard to explain. The hero of Scotland, the man they call Jinx.
And so the train ride between the Imperial City and Dolskfall is short. It's a 2-day journey. And it's uneventful, even though there are those scary sounds that play the train, and the shaking and the occasional sort of power outs of the ectoplasm as the barrier around the train just breaks down, and the rail jacks are doing their fighting. But none of that seems to hold any weight for the group. As a crew, you've come together in significant ways, and now the thoughts of returning to Dolskfall, to what you'll find there, weigh heavy on you. And so as the train is beginning to pull in, at first it looks like really nothing at all has really changed. Dolskfall is the same city that you left behind, only you are burdened with a great deal more of family and responsibility. Where do you guys want to begin? I like it when Trendane does that. What's on your mind?
Something I should have asked.
Flashback.
No, I would need to ask someone if this would be okay. What came to mind at that moment was, as long as we're in the Imperial City, and given that this was the last place that I'd heard of her being, or that Hocus had heard of her being, would be to reach out to Chimes and say, I'm returning with a considerable burden of family. May we set up in the Vale? I mean, her house, the estate.
The Vale estate.
Yes. That's why I said I would have to ask her.
Yes.
So never mind. I can ask later. I can't. I obviously can't do that right now.
I mean, that is kind of a beautiful idea, though. Okay. Train's arrived, guys. Hustle and bustle of Dolskfall at the rail station, at Radix, rail station. Your new home appears to be as normal and expected. Your train car is moved off onto one of the other tracks as it's kind of shifted and given it back to its more permanent berth around the rail yard.
I want news.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit difficult, right? You've been away for 2 weeks, so you've got to find your purveyors, right? They're scattered in crow's foot.
Yeah.
I think with Ari having just like feeling very rejected right now, the first thing she's going to want to do is get out of close proximity to everyone. We've just been on a train thing again to get to Duskfall, and she's like, oh, I'm feeling cramped right now. She's gonna head straight to where she thinks the bar might still be. Are we hoping it's still standing? I'm assuming it's still standing. She's gonna head straight away to the nearest bar and say, I will see you losers later.
Wow. Okay.
She's in feisty mode.
Absolutely. And so here's the news that everybody gets through the various ways and means. Here's the scuttlebutt of Duskfall at this time. Since you've been gone, it's been quite an eventful couple of weeks. First things first. It appears that the crows have come under complete consolidation, and have subsequently taken out the Lampblacks. And that the Lampblacks, it's rumored on the street that that's not quite what happened, and that it was Alderman Bowerstone who was responsible for the ultimate downfall of the Lampblacks.
Heard of him.
The rumor mill appears to be conflicted about that at this point. It seems that the Northhook Company has consolidated a great deal of what's left of the Leviathan Hunters under their roof, as they have been funding and enacting the repairs on the few Leviathan ships that returned after the Leviathan, essentially the 20 ships went out to sea. It appears that the Spirit Wardens are in force looking for somebody. They are hunting in the street all the time. And they appear to be doing their job, but when they are not doing their job, they are on a constant lookout for something. And there are some various rumors that there's a fair bit of activity going on in the Lost District right now. Nobody can confirm anything because it's being kept hush-hush, but anybody that goes out there either does not return or returns with fantastic stories of a horde.
I'm assuming that's like the bad kind of horde and not like a horde of gold or...
All they describe it as is the horde.
Nice.
I'm glad you find it nice.
Nice.
So for Ari's interest, surprisingly, there is a couple of additional things. You find out that there are a couple of brothels that have been targeted recently.
My people.
Two of them happen to have belonged to OC. And those brothels are currently closed down.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to start a prostitute union. That's it. Ari's found her new calling. She's gonna start a union of abandoned hookers are us.
Oh no! Oh my god!
The name.
It's called Hormart. Hormart, and it's a big box. It's a big box store. Oh god!
Hormart.
Oh.
Get your discount, hookers here.
That doesn't sound like a union at all.
Oh yes. I wasn't paying attention to chat real quick. Sky, your good friend Nix went public, indicating that he.
Oh yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Went public about
for a bunch of things. claiming responsibility for a number of actions, and he called himself the Shroud.
Yes.
However,
Himself.
he called himself the Shroud. However, he has since vanished.
How did he come public exactly?
So the story goes, the scuttle on the street is that he walked into a meeting of the aldermans as they were doing some essentially, regular business, spoke up addressing the entire room and left a laundry list of items in the open that he claimed to have been the mastermind of.
And that Bowerstone was unwitting.
That Bowerstone was a puppet, and that he was responsible for everything, including the election of Bowerstone.
And what's the word on the street about Bowerstone?
Huh?
What's the word on the street about Bowerstone now?
And he collected him. He claimed all of this as in calling himself the Shroud. He was arrested along with Brim and Bowerstone and has subsequently disappeared. Bowerstone was released later as the charges against him were deemed false, but nobody has heard from Nyx. And Nyx reminds me of one other element that I forgot to mention to you. There was a fire at the mansion of the Dimmer sisters, and the Dimmer sisters no longer receive callers. Mansion is gone completely.
Place was creepy. Fine.
Well, that's one plot thread that is gone now. Don't really care. What were they doing with those kidnapped children?
Actually, the Shroud did find out what was going on there.
I was going to say, and that ain't what he said. He said the mansion had burned down and they were no longer receiving callers. You didn't say that thread was gone.
Yeah. He did not say that they have been murdered, as Mike was...
Oh, no, they're dead.
Oh, yeah.
They're not gone. They're just dead.
Right. As things that are dead are rarely gone.
Right.
Want to go find the Dimmer Sisters ghosts? Want to go find the Dimmer Sister ghosts? Nah. That's something for them. Did the Shroud claim responsibility for the Dimmer Sisters?
Nobody claimed responsibility for the Dimmer sisters disappearing.
Okay.
It was I! It was Ari all along!
You weren't even there!
I am all the Dimmer sisters!
How could you possibly have done this while you were in Erovia? That's how fucking good I am, asshole!
It was right under your noses all the time.
Stop saying that, someone's gonna believe you, and then you get arrested, and then...
She can go rub her healing hands on Muscles.
Muscles is dead.
So he really needs it then.
So for Jinx's edification, when he returns to Kellen's, he finds that the city is ready to heed the call. Jinx Gotifer, the Skovlanders are ready to heed the call. They are... Ulf has become a changed man and has done everything in his power to support the revolution that Jinx had started before leaving.
Whoa. How is Ulf doing? Like, is he looking...
He is sober and a very contained, violent man.
Okay, that sounds familiar.
It's amazing what the fighting pits will do for you.
Isn't it?
It's amazing what getting sober will do for you.
That too.
You said anything about being sober?
Poor Ari. She needs a hug.
I'm sorry.
Sky, you're a bad person.
12 moons have passed! 12 moons have passed!
At some point, realistically, at some point, Hocus would go to the Eruvian consulate and inform them of his family's arrival and start making arrangements with them to find a place for his family to settle.
Well, so that's the thing. When you arrive and the refugees begin to come off, the Eruvian attaché is there, not the consulate general himself, but the attaché is there and is making arrangements. Right now, they don't have a great plan because there are even more refugees coming into the city than they expected to. This train wasn't originally supposed to actually return all the way to Doswell, but in part because Sky had slipped the coin and mentioned the Ministry of Preservation that the train needed to actually get back to here. And I'm just assuming that that's what Sky would do in order to get back to Doswell very quickly. Some of those Ruvian refugees, basically half the train, showed up. And so when the attaché realizes who you are representing your family, who your family is, and the other two families that were there with you, they begin to make arrangements to find a suitable place for you and the two families to stay inside of Brightstone at an empty mansion. And there are, 3 wings to this mansion, and each of the families are extended the opportunity for a wing at the gracious, coin of the Aruvian consulate at this point. What would the rest of you like to do?
Well, things certainly have been going down.
What exactly do you want me to set up to start making,
I
feel dirty every time you use that accent.
You're welcome. It's what you get for taking a shower before the game. If you left yourself soiled, it would be so much more entertaining for all of us.
Well played, sir. Well played.
I know.
Did I hear anything about Marique?
You did not. Do you make inquiries?
I would. Well, actually, yes, I would. I definitely would.
He has been kidnapped, and he is nowhere to be seen. He has disappeared off the streets once he was kidnapped.
Lovely. Would those Eruvians be interested in a new supply of lure?
Which Eruvians?
The ones who work at the vice den that Marie was at.
Okay. I was like, if you're talking about Hocus's family, the answer would be fuck no.
Well, so you're left with a little bit of an uncomfortable, uncertain answer there, as the Red Sashes, while have been purported to take responsibility for a number of things, haven't been really active in Crowsfoot. And in fact, the Crows appear to be dominating Crowsfoot right now and systematically brokering deals with all of the vice dens. So your Eruvians are getting pushed out of Crowsfoot one by one.
Are they able to supply lure?
Is who able to supply lure?
The Crows.
No, they are not able to supply lure at this point.
Cool. That's fine then. I don't care what they're supplying as long as it's not lure. People still need that. They're addicted.
It's funny though. You mentioned that because I seem to think that they have somebody who might be able to produce it for them, even though he lost a couple of fingers.
Yeah. I mean, all they have to do is make him sweat enough, right?
Oh, no. No. He did more than sweat. He literally lost a couple of fingers.
I know. No, I mean, like, he can produce it through his skin.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
I said it's still a bad problem. I mean, it's still a problem. So.
Yeah. Would I be able to find somewhere that with a lab elsewhere, probably outside of Crowsfoot?
Is this the kind of thing that you want to call setting up a new? I mean, would you set this up in the train car? Would you set that up as an asset?
Okay.
I mean, what are you doing here?
Would it be possible to set up in the train car? I don't know how much space is needed.
depends on how much production you want to do. I think you could set up a lab in there. I don't think you could set up a full production.
All right. Let's rent out a warehouse by the train station. Those usually go well.
Yeah. Can we get one that's not flammable?
There's an offer on the table for you there, Sky.
No.
So while Sky's interest is to getting the apprentice set up, what do Jinx and Ari and Samandra want to do?
Ari's gonna get very, 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 very drunk and probably not know where she is tomorrow.
I feel so bad for her.
Unawasha looks like a shithole. Is this? Oh, maybe I shouldn't use that. Never mind. Sorry, I retract that statement. I genuinely didn't realize that was.
I'm just gonna say this. He tends to ruin things like that for people.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna need to move on.
Yeah.
As for Samandra, well, Jinx, where you heading?
I'm heading to Kellen's. The moment I'm checking in on the gossip, that's what I'm doing. I'm asking to meet with was it Hutton and Briggs, and I want to pull together all the various Scotland players and find out, what's been happening in the last, 10 days since Giant Leviathan just crashed our party. I just want to find out what's been going on, and if there's any organization, any plans between them, or if they were just waiting for me.
So I have one quick question for Samandra before we get to that, and that's actually a really good question. Given that you are now a fugitive in the Imperial City, and you're a fugitive from the Imperial Army, what precautions would she take to protect her identity and thus become somebody new? I mean, because that's really what would be happening, right?
For her, this is a new, thing that she probably hasn't even thought about. Of like, oh shit, she probably hasn't even taken two thoughts about that, as to how she now has to hide because she's been so used to just being a woman of legitimate means. So I'm guessing, if anything, this is something that Jinx has probably put upon her and said, okay, you're going to need to do this, you're going to need to do this. She's probably no longer wearing her badge, probably wearing clothes that she's not used to wearing, hairstyle a different way. Maybe I asked Ari, what can you do here?
Ari's pissed.
She just draws I'm like, okay.
Would she take an alias?
Ooh.
Oh.
Wait, what was the name of the other girl?
Mercy.
And I was going to say she just call herself Forgiveness.
Forgiveness. Atonement.
Tony for short.
Yeah.
Yes. Ooh. Actually, I kind of like the idea of being like a female Tony.
Oh, nice to meet you, Atonement. I mean, Tony.
Tony.
Okay, so Samandra and Jinx discover that under Ulf's direction and under the coordination with Brix and Hutton, they have come together and are just waiting for Jinx Godefroy to return.
Okay.
And they have done exactly what you would expect them to do, which is bide their time, insert themselves into different areas as much as possible, gather as much information. They have organized as if a military operation.
Huh. Well, okay then. I think that would lead Jinx to having a conversation with the rest of the crew, so that everyone is aware that the powder keg is set and that we can light the match any time. But is that what we want? We can take, the Scotlanders are primed and ready to take back Doskvol. This would be a huge blow to the Imperials, but it would mean war. It would mean the Imperial city descending on Doskvol, and I started them on this path, and now I'm having seen what's coming in and from Udawasha. I don't know if war is the best thing right now.
My first question would be, can any of your people create electroplasm to fuel the lightning shield? Because if not, it will eventually run out.
That is a very good question. And I think that would warrant... Remember that room I kept in Kellen's, the war room? I think that would mean that's probably where the crew is meeting, and then that is a question that I would make sure got an answer. I'd make sure that Hocus got an answer to that question. Do we have that capacity to, is it spark rates?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Do we have any Scotland spark rates?
There is a small group that have trained specifically as Sparkrights in their attempt to just sort of integrate into the city a long time ago, just to be, viable citizens and be respected among the citizens of Doskvol. So there are a fair number with the skill. Okay.
And that's another thing, is I'm probably educating Ulf and Briggs and Hutton on everything that's just gone down in Udawasha. What's happened and what's potentially coming. Though it could be months off, it could be years off, it could be months off.
Well, especially if we've already heard of a horde in the Lost District.
Oh, right. Yeah. In that case, we're already in trouble. And I'd want the Spark Rights to be educated and ready.
Okay. And so, is anybody else taking any particular action besides that at this point? Hocus, you've got your family squared away. Is there anything that Hocus or Useth would do for him or his family at this point?
Given the conversation about the need for spark rights and whatnot, and the fact that the spirit wardens are on the hunt for someone, he would probably once again revisit the voice, but I don't want to get into that right now.
Sure, but you can make your way there if that's what you're intending to do. And so as you're making your way there, and Sky is going off to acquire information about the warehouse, and Jinx and Samander are plotting and planning, and Libi is surprisingly absent. She never announced that she kind of left, but she just kind of slipped away upon returning to Doskvol, which stands as odd to anybody who thinks about it after everything that you have been through upon, her showing up in the Imperial City and thus arriving with you back from Eruvia. And Ari is looking at the bottom of another class.
She's going to, in that state, start writing a letter to Tips, which essentially just says, I'm in.
Okay. So does this Hocus is all of these things are going on for everybody, and Hocus is making his way to speak to the voice again, calling card in his pocket, that he turns a corner and finds himself facing Talk. I think it's time we talk, lad. And that's where we're going to end it.
There it is. God damn it.
But which god? Ha ha!
Which god is correct? How many
Steam
gods are there?
Prince.
Are you praying to Steam or are you praying to the ancestor?
Well, I'm.
Don't
I'm
answer
praying
that.
to Sling.
Yes, you can pray to Sling. She is a god technically at this point.
That's fine. She's far away. She's probably the safest of all of us.
You don't know what's going on, and there's actually something going on in her hometown too. So
Yeah, but I'm sure she's fine.
if you guys had ever made it there, there was actually a plan for that too.
Uh,
All will be revealed when this is all over, and I will tell you all the little bits that you missed.
Damn. God damn.
all right. That was fantastic. That was another episode that we went through the entire thing without rolling a single die, which I'm very happy about. There was so much roleplay going on there, between Yuseth and his family, between Yuseth and the crew, and Sky and Ari, and Jinx and Samandra, and that was wonderful. So
Awesome, actually.
yeah, let's go around to our cast again. Get your thoughts on how all of this went down today, and also let us know where we can find you on the internet. Starting with Trendane.
Well, I'm, as just mentioned, Trendane. I am a professional voice actor personage on the interwebs, on the Mishnet, as we sometimes say, on 20, 30, 40, 65, 200 METHODOFLBE. Read-only memory thing over on Arvin Elron's channel where we're doing our vocalist thing. Anyway, never mind. I don't know where I was going with that. But you can also find me there, especially, I think, day after tomorrow. Yes, Saturday. We're doing a Saturday afternoon, evening, morning, night, depending upon where you are on this wonderful spinning rock. It'll be like 4 p.m. Pacific time, and whatever time that is in your neck of the world. We'll be playing more D&D, the Rise of Tiamat, where I play a human druid named Fifley Harper, who's pretty angry. He's kind of an angry person right now, and hopefully he gets to kill something pretty soon, because as more and more time goes by, he's just getting more and more frustrated with the way things are going, probably because his birthday's coming up. But anyway, aside from that, I also voice video games and I narrate audiobooks. I did the Beyond Skyrim Bruma, was one that we released in July of last year, a wonderful Skyrim mod. We're working on a new one. Well, we're working on several, but I think the trailer for Iliac Bay is supposed to be coming up pretty soon, which is High Rock and Hammerfell and that whole area to the west of Skyrim. I was recording the voiceover for the trailer earlier today, so we'll see when that comes up or something. I think I have to do a re-record because I think they've got more they want to write or whatever. That's vocal warm-up or something. So instead, let's do this, and we will drop it like it's hot to Madam Gandalf.
Thank you very much. Hi, my name is Madam Gandalf. I played Ari this evening, and Samandra, of course. Okay, and she is heartbroken. Oh no, and Samandra. Yeah, it's always fun because I got both like a happy ending and a disaster all in like one show. So it's a nice little balance of life happening right there. This was fun. It's always interesting to see what the hell is going to happen in this world. But otherwise, yeah, my name is Madam Gandalf. You can find me mostly here on Twitch. I am a variety caster, from pub quizzes to cooking shows to singing to D&D starting soon as well, and games. You can catch a little bit of everything in the Green Dragon Tavern. Yeah. You can find me other places too. Check out my Twitter to see where I'm at when I'm at that place. On to you, though, the lovely, lovely Jeff.
Thank you. My name is Joff, otherwise known as Owlbare. That's bear as in, not as in owl. Tonight I played Jinx Godifer, who, let's be honest, actually had a relatively decent time of it. I didn't have to kill anyone. All lovey-dovey with Samandra. It was nice. And now he's ready to start a kind of civil war, which is gonna be fun. Anyway, you can catch me over on Twitter, where I will talk about Dungeons & Dragons and RPGs in general and dice, and I will openly discuss my mental health, which is fantastic and
Yes.
hopefully inspires other people to talk about their mental health. And yeah, that's it. I'm doing good.
Good. We love you. Also, I'm proud of you for seeing an entire flock of Eustace family and not punching any of them.
We encouraged him last time. He was heavily encouraged in the DMs by myself and Louise. Go on, punch her, punch the kid.
No children were harmed in the making of today's episode. In fact, several children smiled.
Yes.
Never gonna live it down.
It was a lovely time.
Like I said, just wait. Steam is really going to screw this up. He will take the mantle of child abuser from you.
Wait.
So, somehow,
Yeah.
none of this is good.
Terrible thing, but
All right, Johnny, tell us about yourself and what you thought and that stuff.
Johnny GM for 6 and 20. This crazy thing that we do across channels.
You sound so thrilled.
I am tired. It's been a crazy week, so I'm tired. And this is kind of the end of on-screen stuff for this week. So it's kind of nice because there's a bunch of back stuff going on behind the scenes that I need to get to. I have to say that tonight was really good in a lot of ways for a lot of different reasons, but I think the most poignant for me was probably Ari's conversation with Sky, because that has been alluded to on so many occasions, and she has
3
never
seasons.
Yeah,
Yes.
stepped up and been honest, completely 100% honest with Sky, and it made me. I mean, I was having a hard time. I was having a hard time watching it because it's like I really wanted Ari to be happy.
I really wanted Ari to be happy too.
You're such a dick, Sky. Why'd you get to be?
I was just like, God, if Hocus was just there.
And it's almost like this beautiful tragedy when it comes to Ari, is that she's going to end up, which is almost too real for words, that she's just going to go back to that abusive cycle.
Right.
Like, she's going to go back to the devil she knows, because at least she knows what she's going to get.
I don't want that.
You got 2 or 3 more episodes to turn it around, Sky.
Man, that was so hard, honestly, because I was like, I really wanted it to be a thing, but I couldn't see Sky actually going through with it. Because I said, you actually asked this question on the very first episode when I was introducing my character, Johnny, which was, do you think that Sky is capable of love?
Mm-hmm.
And I said no. I was like, he has been through so much, and for his entire life, all he has just been like keeping in this hate and just resentment towards the entire world, and he has shut any possibility of love out. And I think he's like started to build that out because his sister has started coming back, but he's still like around other people. He can't
bring himself to it.
So I want to comment on something about that, because it's interesting about both Sky and Ari, right? Sky and Ari have had the most growth in season 3, right? Because the resolution of what was going on with Sky's sister is on hold, and so there is this element of, well, he can't solve that problem yet, and he's got all these other things. So there is this, he almost has to play the weight. And for Ari has had, not, I wouldn't call stagnant growth, but she hasn't really changed until this season, where something else was put on the table for her, right? And that was the devil's bargain, and Ari got presented with that devil's bargain by Tips, and since then every conversation has been colored by, well, do I even really want to be here, right? I've seen that and it's not, it's like there's not character development necessarily happening initially, but because of everything that you guys have been through as characters previously, now this character growth becomes significant in a real profound way, because it's happening, right? Because it's that final dramatic moment that is the slight shift. And for Sky, it never is love. It is just the resolution of his sister. And for Ari, it's acceptance that her life is never going to be what she hoped it would be. And that's an impressive way to play it, guys. It's really impressive to watch.
But it's so sad.
Yeah. Tragedy makes some of the best,
I know.
stories. Hey, Romeo and Juliet, they die, man.
What?
Spoilers.
What? I was just watching the scene where Tybalt gets stabbed. No, sorry, Mercutio. Well, Tybalt does eventually. Sorry,
Sad.
where
One of the many characters who dies gets stabbed.
where Tybalt kills Mercutio. I was watching the one with Dirk Benedict, the one from like the 60s. Oh my god, it's my favorite one.
I've never seen that one.
Oh my god, it's great.
Is it?
It is so great. Oh,
Who does Dirk Benedict play?
Tybalt.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go find it. Yeah, that sounds like
I
good.
personally am a fan of the Leo one.
That one was really good too. I really liked John Leguizamo as Tybalt. I thought he did a beautiful job in that.
And the soundtrack for that was
Overplayed.
I avoided it for a long time because I didn't like the modernization of it. But when I finally watched it, it was one of the movies.
So hold on a second. If we're going to talk about that, Baz Luhrmann is an amazing director. He's an amazing visionary, and he takes conventional stories and makes them incredibly unconventional. So I am all about Romeo and Juliet. I'm all about everything that he's done that way. So, but yeah, spoilers. Romeo, Juliet.
I may be wrong. I may be wrong about that.
Are you implying that Sky and Ari are gonna die?
Not implying. He's blatantly telling you.
No.
We're gonna tragically die together. Except one of us is gonna think that the other is dead and kill ourselves, and then we're gonna wake up and realize that the other is dead, and then be like, okay, well, I'm done.
I too am done.
I will kiss you and drink some of that poison. Oh, there's none left. Thanks very much, fucker.
All right. Well, I am emotional right now.
Sorry, it was Michael York, not Dirk Benedict. I apologize.
Still, Michael York's amazing too.
Yes.
Thank you guys for coming out here. It's good to be back. I know we had a week off last week, and we've had several other ones, but I enjoy this game so much. And there was some really heart-wrenching roleplay going on today. And so I seriously thank you, the cast, for being awesome. And thank you, audience, for being awesome and showing up and supporting and being like active and all that cool jazz. For being on this wild ride with us. We are going to wrap things up here with a raid. Actually, before I do that, first off, Johnny, did we officially announce the thing?
Mike
the
did
next thing?
2 weeks ago.
All right, that's what I thought. So I
Yeah.
might as well announce it here too. So there is going to be another 6 and 20 story once this one ends in a different system with a different cast. All around, it is going to be called 6 and 20 Metropolis, set in the world and system of City of Mist. It is a world in which all legends, myths, fairy tales, superheroes are all real and walk among the everyday man, hidden to the rest of the world. And we will take up the mantle of these legends hidden within the mundane. And, it'll be hell of a time starting on, February something or another.
It is amazing, lived in a cake.
Agreed. There's also going to be a one-shot in City of Mist, which will feature Johnny, Mike, myself, and Trendane, as well as Amit.
Who's the designer of the game.
Correct. Also from New Zealand, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's from New Zealand. I do know that right now he resides in England,
I think-
the UK.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I think the company is in New Zealand or something.
That wouldn't surprise me. But yes, Trendane, he is the designer of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, no pressure at all.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
just...
Let's be honest here. The pressure kind of went off when at the first game for 6 and 20 ever, John Harper showed up in chat.
I remember that. Good times.
I was freaking out. I
I
don't have any problems anymore. It's whatever it is. Matt Mercer shows up, I'd have a problem, but
Yeah, try not to say anything. I wonder if he has like a secret Twitch account or something. Anyways,
he does.
you're muted.
Yeah,
He does occasionally stream, by the way.
Interesting. Anyways, that City of Mist one shot will be on January 27th at 1 p.m. Eastern time, and feature one of the designers of the game. So it'll be a hell of a good time. And we're all pretty excited about the new series. So you can look forward to that. We can end up the stream now with a raid if you guys are willing and able. So let's go ahead and raid a friend of mine by the name of Revolver C. I don't usually get the chance to raid him because he's usually a pretty late night streamer. But he's a really awesome guy. He was actually one of the first people I ever played D&D with. He DM'd something for a one-shot on Encounter. But he's currently playing Slay the Spire, which is not something that I've heard, but it looks really cool. And he's a really awesome guy, so I hope you go show him some love. He just got over a flu, so he needs it.
So some distant love.
Distant love. Don't get... Yeah. Emotional.
Right.
Air
Guys,
hugs.
this is getting gross.
How is it gross? Gross would be if we got physical.
Oh, I was about to start describing. And
We're gonna
remember,
start the raid.
I was a medic in the army, so I can get explicit.
Right.
You can talk about almost anything except stuff that involves medical procedures, and then you lose me.
All right, we're
Don't
ready.
do it.
The timer's going down. Thank you guys so much for coming out here and watching. You guys are all awesome. We will see you next time, and as always, don't forget to take it slow. Bye.